In every corner of our planet, from the sun-drenched savannas to the deepest, darkest oceans, a timeless drama unfolds. It is a cycle of life and death, pursuit and escape that has echoed through the ages. This is the predator-prey relationship, one of the oldest and most fundamental loops in nature, a relentless engine of evolution that has shaped life for hundreds of millions of years and shows no signs of ending. This intricate dance began when the first complex organisms emerged, and it has been the driving force behind countless adaptations, creating the breathtaking diversity of life we see today. It plays out on every conceivable scale. In the microcosmos of a rainforest leaf, a patient hunter waits, a master of stillness. And across the vast expanse of the Arctic ice, another predator uses the same strategy of patience, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. From the smallest insect to the largest mammal, the rules are the same. At first glance, it may seem like predators hold all the power. They are the aggressors, the hunters, equipped with an arsenal of formidable tools, razor-sharp claws, powerful jaws, and senses honed to a razor's edge. They are the embodiment of strength and lethality. On the African plains, lions explode from cover to chase down antelope. In the skies above, hawks with telescopic vision swoop down on unsuspecting rodents. And in the blue wilderness of the ocean, sharks, ancient and perfect hunters, pursue vast schools of fish. In these moments of intense action, the narrative seems simple and one-sided. But this is only half the story. The loop is a paradox, a relationship of profound interdependence. For all their power, predators are utterly reliant on their prey. Without a source of food, their strength fades, their populations dwindle, and they cannot survive. The hunter's fate is inextricably tied to the hunted. Conversely, imagine a world without predators. Prey animals would multiply unchecked. Herds would swell to unsustainable numbers, stripping the land of its vegetation until it becomes a barren wasteland. Disease and starvation would follow, leading to a catastrophic collapse of their own populations and the entire ecosystem they inhabit. So, the power is not held by one side, but exists in the tension between them. Predators maintain the health of prey populations by weeding out the weak and the sick, ensuring the survival of the fittest. Prey, by their very existence, sustain the predators. It is a delicate, self-regulating system, a perfect equilibrium forged over eons. The power is balanced, even if the individual interaction looks one-sided. This is the fundamental wisdom of the ancient loop. In the grand theatre of the wild, a silent, unceasing dialogue unfolds between hunter and hunted. This ongoing loop, a fundamental force of nature, compels both sides to evolve in a perpetual dance of adaptation and counter-adaptation. It is a story written not in words, but in tooth and claw, in camouflage and cunning. When predators become faster, smarter, or develop more acute senses, their prey must respond or vanish. The result is a breathtaking array of survival strategies. Some, like the stick insect, master the art of invisibility, their bodies becoming indistinguishable from their surroundings. Others take a more deceptive route. Mimicry allows a harmless hoverfly to don the warning colors of a wasp, fooling predators into leaving it alone. Beneath the waves, the cuttlefish displays a mastery of camouflage that is almost magical, its skin a living canvas that can replicate the color and texture of its environment in an instant. This allows it to become a ghost, ambushing unsuspecting crabs or vanishing from the gaze of a hungry dolphin. This evolutionary pressure isn't limited to direct predation. Brood parasites like the cuckoo engage in a different kind of arms race. The cuckoo evolves to lay eggs that perfectly mimic those of its host, while the host, in turn, develops a more discerning eye to spot the imposter. It is a battle of wits played out over generations, right in the heart of the family nest. But nowhere is this dynamic more viscerally apparent than in the contest of speed. On the open plains, gazelles run faster because generations of cheetahs have chased them. And in turn, cheetahs have evolved to run faster because only the swiftest can catch an escaping gazelle. Each is the sculptor of the other's form. This relentless evolutionary arms race pushes each species toward peak efficiency, honing bodies, sharpening instincts, and intricately shaping the entire ecosystem over millennia. In this way, predators perform a vital service. By primarily targeting the weak, old, or sick, they ensure that prey populations remain healthy and genetically robust, preventing the spread of disease and maintaining the delicate balance of their shared world. What makes this loop truly endless is that neither side can ever win. If predators became too successful, they would eliminate their food sources and starve. If prey became too good at escaping, predators would die out, causing prey to overgrow and collapse from resource scarcity. The balance is only maintained through constant tension and adaptation. Tying the loop together. For most of our history, humanity's place within the great circle of life was clear and direct. We were both predator and prey, our survival inextricably linked to the rhythms of the natural world. We once hunted and were hunted, and our species evolved because of that immense pressure. The need to outsmart a cave lion or successfully track a mammoth sharpened our minds, fostered cooperation, and forged the very ingenuity that defines us. Our earliest art, etched onto cave walls, tells this story, a testament to our deep, primal connection to the hunt and the respect we held for the creatures that sustained us. But then, something shifted. With the dawn of agriculture and the invention of ever more sophisticated tools, we began to step outside the immediate loop. We cultivated the land, domesticated animals, and built settlements that grew into towns, and eventually, sprawling cities. We created buffers between ourselves and the wild, seeking to control nature rather than coexist within it. This separation gave us unprecedented security and allowed our population to flourish, but it also began to fray the threads connecting us to the ecological web. We became observers of the predator-prey dynamic, rather than direct participants. Yet, even with all our technology and infrastructure, we are not truly separate. The circle persists, adapting to our presence. In our cities, new predator-prey relationships emerge. Peregrine falcons nest on skyscrapers, hunting pigeons, while foxes and coyotes navigate our suburbs, adapting their ancient instincts to a new man-made landscape. These urban wildlife interfaces are a powerful reminder that the loop is resilient, always finding a way to continue. Even humans, with tools, agriculture, and cities, are part of the loop, just from a different angle. Today, we are beginning to understand the profound consequences of our detachment. We see how removing apex predators can cause ecosystems to unravel, and we are learning that our own well-being is tied to the health of the planet. This growing awareness is sparking a new chapter in our relationship with the wild, rewilding. By reintroducing keystone species like wolves to landscapes where they once roamed, we are actively choosing to mend the broken links in the chain. We are learning to be stewards, using our unique position not to dominate the circle, but to help restore its balance. The loop doesn't end because it can't. Life itself depends on it continuing, and we are slowly, humbly, finding our place within it once more. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe.